Why not Nunzio?
Well, exactly. Why not Nunzio? Yeah. That's what Balotelli was going to have on his shirt. Why not Nunzio?
And welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever, I am joined by my very own Double Dragon, Sam and Jack Chat.
Double Dragon, it's a game.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Hello.
Scott will be aware of Double Dragon.
Oh, we will.
Yes. And I am Puff.
I think he's doing a review.
I am Puff, 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 the Magic Dragon. I am your host, Ben Chant, saying hello. And if that hasn't given you an insight on who we are visiting today, it's
Dragon
not Ricky
Dragon.
Steamboat, it's not Dragon, but it is
Super Dragon.
he is a Super Dragon, but it's not Super Dragon. It is Ultimo Dragon in the WWE, and we must prefix in the WWE. It's important to say that. But have you enjoyed? I'll go to you first, Jack. Have you enjoyed checking out Ultimo Dragon? Are you still sad?
I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Then you'll hear why.
Yeah.
During this review.
Ooh, stay tuned. Stay tuned for a podcast. It's coming up. And Sam?
I've enjoyed it. It's me boy.
Yeah.
It's me boy. Just
It's a sad
bittersweet. Bittersweet.
And Jack, have you enjoyed today at West Bromwich Albion?
It's very stressful. It's very stressful. We should just win 4-0, but we won 3-2. So we did win, which is good.
Your opinion on Ultimo Dragon may have been a lot more depressive had we have vowed that.
A bit more violent.
So we are heading to the world of 2003. What was the video game that Ultimo Dragon was in?
Here comes the pain.
Here come the pain.
Here comes the pain.
That's quite a well-remembered video game from what
people love it.
And I wonder if that is that purely because Ultimo Dragon's on it?
Rodney Mack.
Oh yes,
and Rodney Mack.
Bradshaw Day. He was champ.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, but on that storyline, you always have somebody who's really low down as a title shot. And we had a call that was Bradshaw at the time. And he won it. Never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened. And about 7 months later,
champ. So there you go. So check out our website in the future for a future review on Here Comes the Pain.
No, you've decided for me.
Well, I'm sure you'll be doing a review at some point. The world of 2003. Are you on the edge of your seats to find out what was number one when Ultimo Dragon debuted?
Was it Atomic Kitten?
No, it wasn't. It was a song that I'm sure both of you are more fond of than normal. It was Bring Them to Life by Heavy Nixon.
No Way Out.
Oh yeah, 2003, living off that, boy.
Yeah.
Well, about 6 months.
That's true. And number one at the box office in the UK was The Hulk.
Oh, the crap one.
Yeah, the awful
How's that
one.
Is it, who directed?
It was Eric Banner, which is amazing. Eric Banner played Bruce Banner. Or was it? They ever changed his name at one point?
To David Banner. They definitely had him called David Banner at some point, yeah. But I wouldn't recommend you check out The Hulk. But do check out Evanescence and Bring Me to Life. I was listening to it on the way to Bournemouth the other day.
Oh, was you?
Yes, the album or just that song?
Indeed.
The album's pretty good.
The album, I think.
Have a review of it.
But for other album choices today, Jack, is your subject matter and poll today.
Well, I've got a little different because it's Ultimo Dragon. We're having albums that have in their title name Ultimo. No, Dragon, really. This is not Dragon. So your 4 choices are Futuristic Dragon by T-Rex.
Ooh, he's gone old school with a bit of T-Rex. I bet Mark's voting for T-Rex.
That's a lot of lizards.
That is a lot of lizards. If you like lizards, if you like fictional lizards and lizards that no longer exist, vote in that.
You've got Into the Dragon by Bomb the Bass.
Bomb the Bass.
That's a bit dangerous there. I'd never heard of him. I listened to a bit of it. It's like dance.
Oh
my God! I hope you don't vote for that.
So anyone out there with their strobe lights,
vote for the next one.
Vote Dragon's Sword.
Killing the Dragon by Dio.
Ronnie
James Dio.
He's the one who was in
Black Sabbath and all that.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, he invented the.
Yeah, he come up with it. Really.
Did he?
He popularised it.
Okay, I might vote for it.
And then the last one, which I think Ben has got a little. He knows what's coming.
Oh God!
Unleash the Dragon.
Oh God!
By Cisco.
Oh God!
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, yeah, 3 albums with Dragon in.
Yeah.
I was going to have Cisco 3 times.
No one wants to vote for Cisco. But if you do want to drop a vote on those Ultimate Dragon references, head over to our Twitter page and it'll be there for you to vote. I lost steam there.
You run out.
There somewhere.
There you go. But before we head to the world of WWE, we thought it best to give you a better picture of Ultimo Dragon in his prime, heading back to, I think it was Wrestling and Romance. Wrestling and Romance. Did WWE have a...
That's the one that...
Yeah, they had a partner with them and they did with SWS, which was Tenryu.
That was around when they did the Rumble War, because this is 92, eh?
Yeah, this is around 92.
Yeah,
So, obviously, you could say that this is kind of linked to the WWE already. Ultimo Dragon linked with the WWE, and he's facing Owen Hart on paper.
Oh, energy Owen Hart.
Yes, on paper. Looks like it's going to be a quite good match.
Rip snorter.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, the standard of the video is awful. So we make no apologies. We didn't film it. Jack wasn't even born. Yeah, so you can't blame him. But ticker tape parade in Japan, that tends to be the way, doesn't it? There's a match. Throw some shit.
There's some streamers.
And Owen Hart in high energy gear. Is that terrible?
Baggy Fatman.
Oh, I hate that gear. I hate that gear.
I'm sitting in some Fatman pants now.
Well, that's true.
But they are just colourful. Have you got any
checkered I'm going to buy some there. And some zoo bars. I should have done it with Fatman, and you should have dressed as Dragon. There's a big chest plate thing.
That's true, yeah. And
we could dress as Owen and Anvil.
Yeah, we've got the beard, eh?
And he's got Chris Griffin hair as well. But early on, there's acrobatics shown by Ultimo Dragon, which is a trope of him, and the crowd is dead silent. You wouldn't know there was a crowd there. I love it.
Very dark, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Japan. It's like, nice mat-based submission wrestling early on, and nice armbar reversals, which gets polite applause from the crowd. I said it is kind of weird watching a match with no crowd reaction, but they build it.
It's normal, I think in Japan, or it was then. I don't know what it's like now.
Still is now. Yeah.
There's a bit more smarky now. It's a bit more smart.
There's a bit more Western influence on it, but it is still predominantly quiet.
Imagine it being silent whilst Kenny Omega wrestles a pencil or whatever he's wrestling next.
What the hell is this?
Owen gets another load of claps at the 5-minute mark for a Hurricane Rana, and again we go back into the mat-based stuff. Ultimo Dragon works over the leg of Owen Hart, and then Owen Hart gets a 2 count off a leg drop. At the 10-minute mark, Ultimo Dragon does a weird sort of top rope headbutt. So he goes to the top, drops the headbutt, but he just lands on his feet. He's like, he does the headbutt and goes, "Boosh!" Fabulous headbutt. And the match picks up pace now as there's a suplex from the top is reversed. Owen Hart uses the sharpshooter, which I think was probably first time he used
done it on TV.
Not he shouted Ichiban yet, because I
when he
kept that.
shouts
Yeah, it's Ichiban, yes, yeah.
What does that mean?
Ichiban! Number one! He does shout that, yeah, I have got that point. Owen Hart suplexes Ultimo Dragon to the outside. It looked fucking horrible. He landed right on his back. And then hits a suicide dive for a pop. Well, kind of. And then he hits he hits a lovely belly to belly, which he always does, that nice belly to belly snap quick for a 2. And the crowd now is starting to get mildly louder. Mildly. You can hear them a bit. Ichiban number 1 is shouted by Owen Hart. And then Ultimo Dragon dives on him onto the outside as he's pushed from the apron. Ultimo Dragon now is on top and uses the sharpshooter himself on Owen Hart. And then there's a double clothesline, a German suplex, which gets a 2, and a loud pop. And then Owen does the same and gets a 2. Yeah, I've got here, this is a nice slow build, to be fair. The pace is built quite well. And there's a beaut of a springboard moonsault, which gets a 2. Owen Hart poleaxes Ultimo Dragon with the most horrible tombstone I've ever seen. I mean, literally folds him in half. And how that wasn't the end, I'll never know. But he sets it up for a top rope elbow, which he misses, and then he just gets rolled up for a 3.
Love is strong.
It's just like a CCW match. All that build up, roll up.
The La Mistral was a finish for a lot of the. Well, Mexican, but a lot of the Mexican people.
Yeah, they do it as a
finish. That's where he meant his name, or it really?
Mexico,
yeah. So Ultimo Dragon gets a win over Owen Hart. Throw to you, Jack. Thoughts on that match?
I thought it was good, yeah. I mean, there's, I don't know if there is any story. I assume there wasn't going into the match. Not. But as a pure spectacle of wrestling contest, it was quite good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Built well. Good moves by both. Solid, work well together, even though there's obviously a language barrier.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty very good.
And Sam, heading back to see your boy in his early day, just hatched out his ultimate dragon egg. What did you?
I did enjoy it later on. Obviously, it was a bit slower to begin.
Yeah, it was. It's hard to watch it.
And there was a lot of heavy breathing, which I did think that's a bit strange.
I think sometimes these kind of matches, when there's no crowd reaction and there's a lot of mat-based stuff, which is what Ultimo Dragon predominantly does in most of these matches, it is hard to watch it through 2019, are you? So you're used to a higher pace. But I thought the build throughout the match was really good, and I must admit, this is the best I've seen Owen Hart in that high energy gear anyway. I mean, he looked really
last time we saw he was fighting Skinner.
That's true. He got a bit more time in this match.
He only had a minute there.
But he went over in that.
To be fair.
That's true. So there you go. So that is Ultimo Dragon in 1992, and we head forward 4 years to check him out next, but not quite in WWE. It's WCW Ultimo Dragon, and what on paper should be a fabulous match with Rey Mysterio Jr. at World War III 1996. Ultimo Dragon's a heel?
Yes.
Like that?
Yeah, I like
the idea.
Yeah, well, Ray's obviously always been the top face masked, so why not have him as the heel?
Yeah.
And evil foreigner gimmick works all the
Well,
time.
back in the evil Japanese Sonny
Right,
He'll get anyone over.
lips.
He did, he had his green sort of teeth.
Malnutrition, or
Yeah, he's been eating seaweed.
He's been kissing to Jerry,
God. Have you seen my rebooking? And they call him the Ultimate Dragon.
Sorry, was it?
Ultimate Ultimo. I thought it might be like a La Park or LA Park.
Ultimate Dragon.
Should have had. That at some point.
Should have. Now,
that should have been his debut when
God. And now I don't. I should have. Now I don't know whether to get it out the way first or let it dominate the whole match. But the commentary team is Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heater, and Dusty Rhodes.
Oh dear.
Dusty Rhodes.
Right,
I meant one or two now.
I made most.
Where's Tenay? Because now they usually cart him out for the
Yeah, he's the godfather of gay luchador 6 so.
The godfather of gay luchador.
This is his
She's 40.
They do actually drop a Tenay reference in. It's like, where is he? But yeah,
he's in the other ring.
I think
there's a spot. There's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
I know where it is. Let's go through the match. So there's escapes and reversals early on, and they sort of.
Did not say that this is for 8 belts.
Is it for 8?
For them all?
All 8.
Oh, is it? I didn't realise it was for all 8.
All 8 notes, everyone.
Because it was it Mexico, Japan? There was a British one.
NWA.
No.
Yeah, there's
Was it the Fight Club Pro belt?
Right, probably the World of Sport.
Totally tad all there.
Yeah, super heavyweight like this. But it was for all 8. Not
okay.
did I mention the I got
Well, I don't know.
He ends up with 10.
This is a spoiler, but I'd have known he would have won this.
Yeah.
Because you can't get 8 other promotions to agree.
That is a very good point.
Not the 17 now, but one goes, yeah, go on, you get one.
You beat me, so you're never the Dudley Town Hall champion.
Yeah. You pick one.
So there's escapes and reversals early on, and they do the standoff to show that they're evenly matched. However, the mat
Right,
base,
Spider-Man, eh?
yeah, he's got the Spider-Man logo on his knee pads, which I thought was.
I said I saw like the web thing.
Yeah.
On his mask.
I didn't think they'd get away with that from Marvel, but maybe they were too busy. Yeah, that's true.
With Ray, well, at the end of this run, another comic thing there.
That's true. So Ultimo Dragon works well on the mat, and Dusty Rhodes says,
Nice takedown right there. That can break a leg. That can break a leg.
"That can break a leg! That can break a leg!"
I have to break a leg and put in brackets Dusty.
There's a brilliant sequence where, I mean, I couldn't just describe, but it was all about flip-flopping and flying around in the air.
Tell you what, it's a real figuring out process right here. They're trying to kick him there, kick him in the belly welly, kick him in the belly welly.
And then he kicks him in the belly welly. Yeah, kick him in the belly welly. Kick him in the belly welly. I'll put it out. Dusty Rhodes may very well be the MVP or the cunt of the run. I don't know. I haven't decided at the moment. But Ultimo Dragon does a springboard drop kick, which is beautiful, and a nice German suplex into it too. Ultimo Dragon now, the story of the match, which tends to be the way with Rey Mysterio, is that he's the plucky underdog, and Ultimo Dragon is kicking his ass. There's a spinning backbreaker, which is quite a unique sort of move. It's not just the standard sort of spinning backbreaker. He sort of spins him around and drops him on, which is really good. And then there's a powerbomb into a guillotine, which is amazing, where he sort of bounces. It's that bouncing back. Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. And then the giant swing, which gets the crowd hot. I wasn't expecting a giant swing spot.
Swing, baby.
I'm surprised he didn't just let go of him and he got flying.
I know.
Did you note down what he said?
Both men go down. Well, I think the Dragon got a little tipsy-topsy himself there.
What did he say?
He's tipsy-topsy.
Yeah, brilliant. Tipsy-topsy.
I'm noting here, tipsy-topsy. So somebody said it, I'm guessing.
Oh, that's what it was. Tony. Sidewalk slam.
It could be Bobby, because he does take the piss out of him.
This is the greatest topsy-turvy in the history of that spot. He hits a brainbuster and is totally dominating, and hits a tombstone of his own, which I think he probably learned from Owen Hart. A little bit of a throwback there. And then another one outside, behind.
This is the weirdest
This is strange. Because I heard Dusty say, "Hey, look at that guy there with a red coat, Billy." And I thought, what's he on about? And then it spanned, and it was him. Then three. Because then he was this. Turn around. Turn around. And then won't turn around.
What I don't get, because obviously it's World War 3, but they're looking at Ring 1. But the match is in Ring 2. So why? Because for the World War 3 in the first one, I don't know if it happened to this one, they had 3 sets of commentary teams. Why don't they use the commentary team there?
Why don't they just put them by the ramp?
Yeah. And you don't look. It doesn't look like 3 people awkwardly not watching the match.
Can't turn round.
Yeah, because Doshavani say they're right behind us. We're watching our monitors. Turn round.
I loved it. Dusty Road just shitting on this. Turn round, man. Turn round. There's
what was his idea? This World War?
Well, probably most of WCW was his idea. There's a top rope Hurricane Rana and a running power bomb, which I was sure was going to be the finish when he gets a 2. And again, Ray's playing the underdog. There is a nice lucha springboard from rope to rope.
I'll put that on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running out of whether I know it's a plancher or a cross body or.
Couldn't we have phoned today to do this?
Yeah, you should have. Yeah. But that allows Ray to get back into the match, and there's a nice drop kick and a springboard dive. Again, there's a beautiful sequence into a Hurricane Rana pin. And then a dragon suplex gets a 2, and now the great finish where Rey Mysterio gets caught, is bounced off the rope, turns round, and it's just a fabulous sit powerbomb. For the 3 count, and Ultimo Dragon defends his 8 belts. I mean, I'm
do you think after a beat, so let me lose these? I'm sick of carrying these.
Probably.
Well, they give him 2 more.
It's kind of stuck.
Oh no, that's why I'm always with him. You carry him.
Yeah, well, he's sort of iconic for having loads of belts, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the
picture,
people. He's constantly holding loads of belts.
This hurts. Like Dan Severn, only had 4 days.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Ultimo Dragon shits on him. How can they be like multiple champions elsewhere? Get to the WWE and Vince go, yeah, I've got plans for you.
Stand aside, pal.
Jack, I'll throw to you first. Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio, World War 3.
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. As usual with WCW at the time, the cruiserweight match was usually the best in-ring contest. And without knowing all the card for World War 3, this was probably the best contest on the pay-per-view. They worked very well together.
Yeah.
And you'd think use them together down the line at some
maybe in WWE, we'll see. But Sam, before we get there, Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio.
Brilliant match. They did it best.
Brilliant.
Did you
love his pink attire?
That's one thing that slightly annoyed me later on, but we'll discuss that.
Oh, no worries.
Except the green lips. That was just strange. But yeah, as Jack said, this was best match on that card, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think who won the World War 3 was that
Giants. Yeah, because then he turned
Size of the Giant. So how could you possibly fail when you have a cruiserweight division with Rey Mysterio and Ultimo Dragon in it? Let's find out together, shall we? Because the Ultimo Dragon debuted in WWE on the 26th of June episode of Smackdown, and if you want to check out another piece of that particular card, you can head over to Mr. America.
Oh yeah, that was the match after.
Yes,
and I've never seen that advertised. I thought, hang on a minute, I've watched it.
As one piece of shit leaves, they bring in Ultimo Dragon.
I'm going to say no, dare say one piece of shit.
Replace one masked man with another.
One masked man with another. As Ultimo
There's no
Dragon.
Flips from Mr. America.
And that's very true. Debuts against Shannon Moore. State of your cruiserweight. Shannon Moore, cruiserweight. Thoughts on Shannon Moore? We don't really get a chance to discuss him. Doubt we'll do him in an episode.
He's not good. He's not bad. He's just there.
He's just Shannon Moore.
I thought he was good for Matt. With the,
just so bland. Yeah, so pointless. Even when he did his sort of like
reject.
That
added a little bit to it.
It added a little nuance to him, but it's Shannon Moore.
Shannon Moore is carted out to give us the idea.
Who's the lowest on the top hole?
Ultimo Dragon could possibly lose. But on commentary is Rey Mysterio, who's got boogie eyes.
And he's absolutely massive compared to the last match.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch him back, you think, Jesus Christ, what's happened here?
He's been hitting that gym. He's been hitting that gym.
Hitting the ICO Pro.
One of the things that they do persist with, obviously, other than because they don't persist with Ultimo Dragon, but what they do persist with is that's true. But they persist with pyro. They give him pyro all the time. Lovely bit of fire all over the place, didn't they? Yeah. I got the impression as well. They were probably billing this straight away as we're going to have Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon down the way.
Like that.
Yeah, these sort of vignette packages had sort of a similar thing to Rey, in Titantron, where his masks. It was the same with Ultimo, with his little shoulder thing.
Yeah, so you got the impression it was going to be that.
It's just basically, we've got another Rey Mysterio!
Yeah. So Ultimo Dragon does his standard reversals and sweep kick, and he's on top early on. There's a nice springboard elbow, and then a fake off. Michael Cole.
Great British fake off.
Michael Cole gives us an absolute fact attack.
What does
Ultimo Dragon?
Because I did write it down, so I can't remember.
But he just tells us everything, no?
The last student of Bruce Lee. Where's he?
He just constantly gives you fact after fact after fact. Shannon Moore gets a bit of offence until there's the ugliest looking reversal ever. The timing of these two.
That's where Vince went, forget it! This project is over!
There's a spinning heel kick by
Shannon
Dragon.
Moore can't carry this, man.
And nice karate kicks, and the Asai moonsault. Who the hell is that name?
I'm sure we'll find out in every match.
The Asai moonsault, named after Ultimo Dragon, is done. As much as I love the Asai moonsault and their desire to push it, he's also got Dragon in his name, and his finisher in WCW forever was the Dragon Sleeper.
Yeah.
And at least that makes sense. Because you can win with it. You can't really win doing the Asai moonsault outside.
No.
But yes.
Is that what the Asai moonsault is? Is it outside?
Yeah, it's inside. Because he does it inside on the Velocity match, and they call it a plancher, I think, or something.
Well, it's the commentary team on that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We will get to that.
We will get to that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
But the Asai moonsault is hit, and a unique jawbuster from the top.
Surprisingly,
you don't see that.
From off the top with a jawbreaker.
From the top rope, and then the finish. What's it called? Is it the Asai
DDT?
Asai DDT.
I'll just put Dragon DDT.
Asai. Do you not know that's his name?
What does Ultimo Dragon mean? And then the
name's failed.
It does indeed. And then there's a 3 count for the win for Ultimo Dragon. Rey Mysterio pops in to give him a congratulations, and Billy Kidman
looks very disgruntled.
Kidman?
I think I thought this was where he started turning heel, but it wore. I think this is when he just come back off an injury.
Yeah, his face, because he gives a little, and he looks like a heel. I got really confused later on. Because I see over who's heel and whose face. I get confused. In the next couple of matches?
I got by
the next match.
Well, I got confused.
That's true. I've just saw the next match.
That's confused.
But yes, Ultimo Dragon has debuted, and we better get it over with. As debuts go, Jack.
It was a bit sloppy, really, at times, to be fair to him. Poor old Dragon.
It is hard, and I'm going to say it now. I think Ultimo Dragon is used to fighting in much smaller rings with much bouncier ropes.
Yeah,
because his timings are always off when he does that backwards elbow. Yeah, because I think he thinks the ring's shorter.
Yeah,
so he's always sort of off.
Yeah, we always said that because WWE's is 20x20, as Austin always said.
16
and 16 by 16 was the standard rings, I'd say. But
and
AWA was the only ones that had the 20x20.
Oh, they did it in AWA?
Yeah, AWA had the massive ones as well.
Okay. But in AWA, all you did was
again, this
Vern, are you going to do a flip? The Vern Guardian moonsault. Did you not know that was his name?
Oh, it's the Greg Guardian moonsault.
The Greg Guardian Oh my Dragon brother. The same moonsault, brother. Fucking Greg. Greg invented Ultimo Dragon.
Greg.
when we do the Greg Gagne special. That's Christmas time, mate. It's Christmas with Greg.
We don't watch his career, just listen to his shoots.
That's everything he's ever invented. We'll be here forever. Sam,
he did the draft, apparently, as well.
What about a bollock? Fuck off.
When did this become
I
very
hate
great?
I don't like Greg Gagne. But Sam, you're our resident Ultimo Dragon boy. Turn that into something better than water into wine.
It is a shame, and I think it is what you say. He's used to being in a bit smaller rings with slightly better opponents.
And Shannon Moore is
still green at this point. You'd bland, but
and he is green himself. Well, maybe they was thinking, well, Ultimo Dragon's a veteran enough to be able to carry the match, so maybe he's at fault. But it wasn't the greatest of debuts. No. But a bit more promising.
Why
next.
not Nunzio?
Well, exactly. Why not Nunzio? Yeah. That's what Balotelli was going to have on his shirt. Why not Nunzio?
Hang on, for one Italian deal.
That's it. Why not Nunzio? Oh, I don't know.
He's my boy.
Head over to Pro Wrestling Tees right now and check out our Why Not Nunzio shirt. So the 10th of the 7th Smackdown, and Eddie Guerrero is out and is heel. Randomly, although the crowd will not accept that he's heel and continuously cheer him all the way through his promo.
Yeah,
he explains doing the how he's heel.
Yeah, because he says that to Jerry.
Yeah, because they'd lost the tag, hadn't they? Because
I'm in love with my car.
Yeah. Ciampa was injured, wasn't he? That's why Tadger's replaced him in the match at Judgment Day. And they won the tag, strangely. And then obviously
they lost them the week before.
Lost them the week before to... Was it World's
Greatest Tag? Said the promo.
Everything changes in 2000. Everything changes in 2003 though, because when we start, Brock Lesnar's a face and ends up a heel, and Eddie Guerrero's a heel and he ends up a face, and Tajiri's a face and he ends up a heel, and Jamie Noble's a heel and then he goes a face and then he goes heel, and then Billy Gunn's around.
Billy Gunn gets mentioned in this.
Dragon stays the same.
Dragon stays.
So he tries to be heel, but he can't, and just sort of announces himself in the US tournament, which is quite handy because it's this match. But yes, he's in the US tournament and he's facing the Ultimo Dragon in the quarterfinals. Sam, do you want to fill us in on the other three quarterfinals? Matt Hardy, Rikishi,
which I think Matt won.
This show.
Matt won.
I think Benoit fought Rhino.
Yeah, because
and Billy Gunn fought Cena and beat John Cena. He beat Cena.
Undefeated against Big Match John.
Billy Gunn beat John Cena.
Billy Gunn.
That proves that AEW is better. Internet. There's a nice arm drag early on, and the timing does feel a bit better. I think Eddie Guerrero understands Ultimo Dragon and timing a bit better, although we'll get to it. There's a leg sweep. Ultimo Dragon is on top, and there's a nice tilt to world by Eddie Guerrero. Eddie is doing the "I'm in love with my car" gimmick as he sort of kisses it. And
for some reason, I thought the David Hasselhoff something.
There's a load of quick near falls and then a nice leg scissors. However, the finish sequence sees an ugly reversal from, well, what I want to call is an inside Asai moonsault or moonsault. I think Eddie was supposed to sort of catch him and roll through, but they just sort of flop, and Eddie desperately tries to cover it by pulling the tights, and Eddie Guerrero advances and I believe wins the US.
He fights Benoit because Rhino turns heel.
And not Benoit, Stevie Richards.
Eddie versus Invisible Man. Yeah, because Rhino straight Invisible Man.
Jack, better, worse?
It was probably worse, really, for me, because I expected a lot more, because he said
Why did they give him 4 minutes?
Why did they put him in the tournament? Why did they completely kill him straight away? We're going to stop your momentum now by losing to Eddie.
Well, this is 2 matches in and he's got 3 points.
3 points?
Mid-table.
Eddie away is difficult, I understand.
It took a point.
And it was a last minute, you conceded a last minute goal with the tights. But still,
I thought it was a better match purely because I thought the timing was better, but I agree with you in that I had much more
Tajiri in the match. If he's doing the injury angle, just put Jamie Noble or whoever, Kidman.
Whatever.
That could have been just my end to this. That one line, couldn't Tajiri be in every match? Because
Sam.
Yeah.
I thought it was slightly better, although it was a bit clunky.
Well, the ending was the thing. I thought the timing was okay until the ending, which was awful. And you just feel, that Vince has started to go.
He's fucked up twice. He's shit.
And the blood is boiling. Where is Funaki? It's like, the DX angle when he was getting more and more mental to the point where he was pulling his ear. I can just imagine at WrestleMania 20.
I want to see that.
Oh dear. So, we go forward, and can Ultimo Dragon make it 6 points from 9 as he faces Jamie Noble.
Is he at home or away this?
We'll say it's at home, but Jamie Noble, cruiserweight. Again, we don't really talk about and see Jamie Noble much. I think he's probably very underrated as a cruiserweight act.
He's
one of the best ones at this point.
He had a character as well, which you see is distinctly lacking when you have 10 cruiserweights in the ring at WrestleMania.
If he was 6 foot, he'd be as good or liked as much as Eddie and Benoit and that.
Nowadays.
Because he can work a character and he's very good in the ring and he can get people over.
Yeah. Day after this run, he's
got
the ROH belt.
He was champ there. And
I know it's easy. Well, exactly. I know it's easier to win that belt when you're smaller, but I mean, he's small compared to small people. The fact that they give him the belt and this is an ROH that at the time had CM Punk and Samoa Joe and
McGuinness and all
McGuinness
these
and
people.
stuff. I mean, he was in with a lot of good talent. He cuts a promo early on, which sort of sums up this match, unfortunately, because it's the Jamie Noble, Tori Wilson.
Oh God, are we going to be doing this crap?
Probably. Billy Gunn's in it.
Proposal. I want a feud with Billy Gunn. Yeah. That's indecent enough.
He ups his offer from 10k to 25k. I believe he's inherited 800 grand from his aunt. And that pisses off Nydia. As you do, that pisses off Nydia, so she fucks up and leaves him. There's a typical sweep start from Ultimo Dragons on top of
matches.
I literally got 3 notes. I saw him moonsault early on outside.
Did you know it was named after his real name?
It was,
Never said.
And then they go inside to do the Jamie Noble tries to set up the Tiger Bomb, or as I'm calling it, the Jamie Noble Bomb, because that's named after Jamie Noble.
Noble Bomb.
But the distraction by here it comes, Billy Gunn and Tori.
Billy's got an appearance.
Billy. Weird haircut.
This is the period where they're trying to push him though again.
Did you see the skit? You might not have seen
I've seen it.
You know what I'm on about.
Where they squeeze his arse.
Yeah, and the back knee. The amount of back knees.
Well, they treat them like teenagers.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn is like a 40-year-old man with awful skin.
Yeah, he got terrible.
The best thing Billy Gunn ever did was on the GTV where he said he had a spot on his arse. He was right up to the mirror.
Billy Gunn is the hero of the run. Just for being alive. But yes, this distraction allows a roll-up win for Ultimo Dragon. And he's so unimportant that we don't actually see him celebrate. And we just focus on Jamie Noble being pissed off at Billy Gunn and Tori.
That's it.
So, how long do we have to... Well, let's talk about that. Jack, thoughts on...
Short and sweet. Probably the best, because there was no fuck-ups out of it. That's the worst, because he has now been relegated to the Shannon Moore spot in the Jamie Noble feud.
Even though he's winning.
He wins. This is his like his most important win, because he's ever a credible bloke in Noble. It's just nothing. Don't mean anything.
It just annoyed me. It just didn't need to be
in there.
Team Bomb. 2 definite underrated talents, or maybe overrated, depending on where you stand. But Sam,
Billy and Tori, you want about this?
of course.
Short and sweet, but as you say, he's just a bit part player. He's just another bloke on the roster. He's another cruiserweight.
3 matches in.
3 matches. What happened to them 8 belts?
Well, exactly.
format.
So, next appearance on SmackDown, 3 months' time. No appearances at all.
He never appeared on SmackDown.
Didn't appear at all. He was on Velocity, but he didn't appear at all on SmackDown for 3 months.
He was on the he was on the pre-show. I think it was the Velocity match before Vengeance.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which I'm sure
Canyon?
yeah.
Bloody Canyon.
There you go. But his reappearance is to insert himself into a feud that doesn't involve him. As Rey Mysterio is on commentary, scouting Tajiri, who is now heel and now cruiserweight champion. I believe he turned heel because he split the mist into
Nidia, but it was the black mist. That's why.
Yeah. Well, you fucking hell, kills people. The black mist.
They got three.
Friendly mist.
You've got to put you to sleep, do you? I think that's the blue one.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's loads.
Never saw that.
In Japan, there's fucking mad out there.
Mental aid.
Some mist then, I think.
What's the red one do?
I don't know. I think it makes you itch.
The green one
stabs your bush. Relegated.
So Tajiri is now heel, and early on, these two. I mean, obviously, they are two of the best kickers in the.
Can I kick it?
That's right.
Yes, you can.
This is a straight fighter match, eh?
It is. It really is.
Yes, it got to be Ken.
Yeah. I think Halang comes out
and Bayek. No, Bayek never gets love.
He's a good kicker. He's a good kicker.
He's the original Horang.
There's a nice spin kicks early on to the back and an Asai moonsault. The crowd is hotter as Tajiri is on top. There's a tilt to world by Ultimo Dragon, and Tajiri locks in the tarantula, which Michael Cole correctly says is an illegal move. Thanks Cole. Ultimo Dragon reverses it, and there is a beaut of a kick by Tajiri, and then a kick to the head, and Ultimo Dragon cleanly has lost to the cruiserweight champion. I thought that was a much better match, though, even though he was losing. Yeah. Fucking hell, Tajiri's good, isn't he? Jesus Christ, this is... I mean, we'll get to later on Tajiri in a minute, but Tajiri's fucking good, isn't he?
He's good.
This was probably his best run in the Fed.
The
Alliance comedy stuff. As a heel,
as a wrestler, I think when he was comedy sort of skit, he was funny and great. But Regal was
well, there was that thing when he come back for the Cruiserweight Classic, when he come into the saw Regal's face.
Crazy,
that's usually a thing on Twitter as well. A picture of him just looking.
So good together.
Oh man, they are
but as a pure wrestler and a pure taking you serious,
so underrated, underrated Tajiri.
Why did they leave him on Raw for so long?
He didn't get involved in the cruiserweight for ages.
Later on in the draft locker, he just moved and then he teamed with Rhino. And they had that match on the house show where Vince come out because it was boring.
It's just harsh, isn't it?
It's a bit harsh.
But I think Rhino has actually said he kind of did it on purpose after. He said we was doing all this to try and make it better, and Vince come out and said it was boring. So, alright, then it was boring. And then they brought out some bikini contest nonsense.
Get the women!
Get the women! But I thought this is probably his best match so far, Jack.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's still Karen Fodder. He's still bit part in another feud, which is a shame. But from bell to bell, they had more time than the Noble match, and Tajiri is very, very good, as we've established.
He's Rey Mysterio's masked friend at this point. Yeah. If you want to prove that you can beat Rey, beat the other masked guy we've got in Ultimo Dragon. But
only two, I think.
Yeah, I think so. At this point,
two masked. That's it. That's our quota.
If he was around now, I wonder what party he'd be with. Sam, anything to add on Tajiri versus Ultimo?
No, his best match so far, and it was all Tajiri. Really,
yeah, it was. It was putting out.
But again, it was both. I think they understand each other, and I don't mean that in any other way.
No, I just thought it was solid kicks. Both of them kick each other, kick the shit out of each other.
Different flavour, or it to the others.
To the flip flop,
flippy. It was kicky.
Yeah.
So, and Ultimo Dragon at the end is saved by Rey Mysterio. So he is the damsel in distress. So obviously, what you would then do is book Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon and just throw it away. But because what's the point? I think this is to name who's going to... And they say this, so remember this. This is to name who's Tajiri's next opponent is going to be. Tajiri says that when he's on commentary, so he wants to find out who's number one contender.
Tajiri was quite funny on commentary, some of the stuff he would say.
He was?
This is
brilliant. Yeah, so he comes out. He comes out with a Kyo and Sakoda.
Yeah. They have been named yet.
No, they haven't been named. I'll ask you, Sam, because you tend to favour one Jerry Sags over Brian Knobs or something. A Kyo or Sakoda?
Sakoda.
All day long with his mean gremlin face.
Why wore he like a cruiserweight?
Because he was...
right later on.
Yeah, it was... 7 of these out.
No, just put him in.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they didn't put him in. I think Vince
thought he was... this guy away?
I'm not saying this for certain, but I think Vince thought he's too ugly. Because he is ugly.
One surprise. Hang on, when the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Because he does look like the bloke before Kato.
Yeah, he does. He does, actually. That's true, yeah. That beardy bloke.
Who was it?
Sato. Sato. Well,
Sato.
It's close. Yeah, it's the next evolution. This is, you go Sato and then you go Sakoda.
What's after that? Naito.
Yeah, Naito, yeah.
I apologize, Kunita. I'm sorry. An accident? How can you say that was an accident? You look the girl in the eyes, you spin your face. Accident? That's what is wrong with you? Jerry, Taz are right. We don't understand Japanese. That's my band. Okay, it's your championship. You're hugging it like you say, small job. That's much better. Your match better. Okay. I got you. Let's get you focused.
So pissed off all of Japan.
Tajiri is questioned by Cole on commentary about his attack on Nidia, which he sort of apologises for, but then does a little giggle. Cole pushes him further, and then he just talks Japanese.
Taz pretends like he knows what he's saying.
It's fucking brilliant. I just love Ted. He said they ask him if he likes Ultimo, what he thinks of Ultimo Dragon and Rey says, yeah, they're okay. I'm better. Brilliant. And then says, I'm sorry, and laughs. Which is brilliant. There's nice reversals and Dragon's on top early on. Quick kicks by Ultimo Dragon. Tilt to world head scissors. And a nice bulldog from Rey, which is normally the setup moves that he does to the 619. 619 is then set up, but there's a block and a ref bump. And Tajiri gets in and kicks Rey. Ultimo Dragon, rather than giving a shit, goes, alright then. And as he
10 3 points.
Whoa, straight on it, need it. I'm in relegation at the moment.
Yeah, get bad fall.
But yeah,
he pinned the Hulk.
Pinned the Hulk.
Ray was dressed as Hulk.
That's
twice.
No, another
Ultimo beat him when he's dressed as Marvel characters.
Yeah, that's true.
So Ray need to learn.
To switch sides.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, God, having seen World War 3
to this.
Admittedly, TV match, pay-per-view match, you've got to take that into consideration.
Bigger ring.
Yeah, bigger ring.
Commentators actually watching.
Yeah. Tajiri and Dusty Rhodes, though, would have been the greatest. He kicked it in the belly Oh, God, it would have been brilliant. But I'll throw to you, Jack. Thoughts on this match?
I was a little bit disappointed with it, to be honest with you. I thought it was okay. But I mean, it served its purpose because it enhances the Tajiri thing. But if what you're saying is right, with this was to name the number one contender.
Yeah, I'm almost certain. I will look it back, but I'm almost certain it was.
Then it's even worse, really, now because
he never gets his time.
Well, technically, he gets it at WrestleMania.
Well, no,
just said, I'm cashing in at Mania.
I'm cashing in, and I'm going first.
But yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Well, not terrible. It was good. It was decent, but yeah, not brilliant. Not one that I'll remember.
And Sam, rather than celebrating Liverpool's 2-0 lead, what do you think of the?
Obviously, not a patch on the WCW matches, and I'm sure there's more they had in WCW which is better, but bigger ring, so it's harder for him, and a bigger Ray.
Much bigger Ray.
Much bigger, older Ray. But I enjoyed it.
It wasn't a bad match at all. No, it wasn't a bad match. It just, again, felt a bit like Tajiri's in a feud with Ray. Oh, and Ultimo Dragon's there.
He's always the
Like, you know,
he's
he's-
always the bridesmaid.
Yeah, the
bride,
sidekick to Ray.
Yeah.
He's got a mask as well. Put him with Ray. He can
Yeah.
be the cannon. He can be the Shannon Moore to Ray's Matt Hardy,
Yeah.
can't he?
Yeah, that's what he is.
So we go forward now. Want to be confused because Nunzio and Tajiri are tag teaming against Ultimo Dragon and are returning
Jamie
Jamie
Noble.
Noble, who is face randomly.
But he's not towards the end of this run.
Yeah, confusing. But I think this is his return after he got kicked in the head by Tajiri.
Yeah, and then it turned out there was... Because Nidia was blind, he must have come back to defend her honour, and then he had a match with her on one
The
pay-per-view.
blindfold match, surely.
Yeah.
No way.
He had a match
Yeah,
with
something like... Yeah,
Nidia.
with
Nidia,
Jamie Noble deserves better. I've decided.
Weird, eh?
Yeah.
What the fuck's going
And
on?
he bought Nunzio in, Jamie Noble. That's how Nunzio
Is his
debuted him
cousin
with his
or
cousin.
something?
Oh, and they just forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sort of
And that one's a Southern and one's from
Italian.
New York Italian.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? There?
Yeah.
Although we'll get to Taz's reference to Italy and Japan later on.
Yeah, I think I was like, okay.
Well,
Careful
Taz
what
on
you say.
commentary. Fucking hell, Fat Jolly Taz is pretty good. There's a recap shown of last week, and Noble returns as the partner to a mile pop. Noble is already now in a feud with Tajiri over Ultimo Dragon, so raising him this match. But now, even with Ultimo Dragon having a secret
dropped
partner,
another
the
couple of
secret
places.
partner is still more over.
Still down on the
Oh.
fucking order.
Nunzio is isolated early on. I'll put it Nunzio again. We won't probably talk about Nunzio too much in WWE, but he bumps around really well.
Yeah.
He's
He
good,
did a lot in
solid and
ECW.
good
but
dance
he's-
mentality.
Yeah, and he hasn't even rang the bell yet.
That's true. Poor bloke.
And he
Why
sells
did he
it.
get on? There's a riff.
I don't know. Yeah.
Couple of weeks ago, that's Nunzio. We didn't know this.
Yeah. I mean, the fans was always going to take that over. Unsurprisingly, Ultimo Dragon plays the face in peril spot, but not for too long, as there's a long kicks and tilt to world spot. Sakoda and Akio distraction allows Ultimo Dragon to be beat down, and then there's a Faymaster from the middle rope, which gets a 2, which is nice. Taz then talks French randomly.
Salami, like slice of salami. I get it. Like pork. You know what I mean? Prosciutto, brajol, all of that. Tajiri.
Don't know why.
Really?
And
French?
I don't know exactly. No one's French, and then there's a nice kick by Tajiri, and Taz suggests that maybe Nunzio and Tajiri are tag team partners because they were on the same side in the war.
And Japan, they're allies, right? Dude, it's hard to believe. What do you mean what I'm talking about? What are you blind? Look at Nunzio, he's Italian. Tajiri's Japanese. They get along, right? It's like an international thing. Queens, he's not from Italy.
Well, it was, but Italy did turn.
Well, obviously, yeah, exactly. So Ultimo Dragon is isolated. There's a superplex attempt, but it's blocked and turned into
But Ultimo's
sort of a face
Japanese.
buster. No, I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
very
well,
strange.
That's true. Yeah, but he's not evil Japanese. He's mystical Japanese. Them always face.
He's a dragon.
Noble gets the hot tag, and I put it again. The feud now obviously is Tajiri and Noble. Again, there's a handstand spring elbow that's missed. I mean, obviously missed as well by Dragon. And then a side moonsault, and inside Jamie Noble pins Tajiri, and then Jamie Noble escapes the attempted
I
attack.
get that.
But we don't see Dragon. He's blocked
No,
out,
you
flooded.
can't. Yeah, they don't celebrate
No.
together.
Noble's on the
That's Dragon
on the-
there.
Yeah.
Well,
Not, I mean, Dragon, as far as I'm aware, is the number one contender, but you know, let's ignore it.
Jamie Noble.
Thoughts on that match, Jack?
It was it wasn't too bad. I didn't
I thought it was a
mind
good tag team match.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. I
Thought
thought,
really
you
good.
know, it worked well as the standard tag match. You beat somebody down, leave them in peril, get the hot tag, blah blah blah. I thought it was a bit weird that they had the Noble wins, and then he does still try and beat down Tajiri to some extent because of the blinding of his girlfriend and all that.
Especially when it
still
wasn't
runs
for
off.
anything.
Yeah.
So if he was like whoever got the pinfall got the championship shot, then
Yeah.
you can understand him going, "I've got one over on you, I'll have you." But it was like,
So
I beat you
should have had him like
in this throwaway tag
Yeah,
match
he
that
was
no
scared
one
as
I'd
could.
have had Nunzio and Tajiri go over because of Noble getting a chair and beating the shit out of Nunzio
Maybe,
and
yeah.
Tajiri, and that runs off.
And
And
then-
Dragon's still there.
Yeah, the Dragon could have been pissed off. Yeah, he could have been. Sam,
Yeah, I agree, actually. He
what's
was
happening to
pretty-
your boy, Sam?
Vince all over him. Vince got his hands on him.
Vinced is going to definitely be a...
Vinced. Vince. You've been Vinced, and then that laughing on it. Yeah. Ow. Pat. Pat. Don't you, Pat.
brush his teeth.
Lips,
Pat. Yeah, I thought it was a better match, but this does now get slightly frustrating, and I know this is the point of the podcast, but when you're watching the most uninteresting person in a match, it's just like, oh, God.
Who's watching this feud?
Yeah, why don't we watch the good bit of the feud with Noble and Nidia and Tajiri and stuff, and we ended up watching a bloke who just finds some velocity everything with so
he's the best one of better work.
and he's definitely the most interesting. He's the most interesting to look at.
Yeah,
if you
look
asked
at
a child out of those four, which one do you want to watch? They'll pick Ultimo Dragon.
Which
all day
action
long.
figure would you buy?
Exactly. You know, you could have had 60,000 people in masks.
He's a Zord.
Yes, this needs Jesus.
It comes out of the Zord.
Bloody hell.
Dragon Zord.
You're going to fully
Go out and
Japanese
see.
him. Oh God, that would be amazing.
I
So
bet you Vince would have thought of that if he knew the Power Rangers was around.
Should have come up and said, "Let me show you this VHS."
Here's the flute.
he is doing okay on the points tally, though. He's got more wins than losses at the moment.
He's doing all right.
If you wanted any idea of where he is in the pecking order, the best thing to do is to get every one of the roster in a ring and decide
where they go.
who goes out first. Which is why we're heading to a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal. I think this was to name a number one contender
For
that
Brock,
night.
yeah.
For Brock. There's no TV entrance for Ultimo Dragon.
No, he's just in there.
Shock.
But there isn't a TV entrance for John Cena, who's in the match.
All bet what?
The Bashams get one.
Yeah.
And
Rikishi.
and what about his rubber balls?
I'm confused.
That was their gimmick.
I know, yeah, but
That
it's
was
like,
One with the gimmick. Get your wardrobe.
And
To the sex shop. I've been waiting for this.
hang on, is that why then later on there was sod?
Oh,
Jesus.
oh God.
Podcast. We can tell
Passion.
it.
There's a lot of butter in this
Billy
podcast.
Gunn and Bashams.
Oh, that's got to be the end
Nathan
of
Jones.
Mr. S.
Bottom
Get ready.
So, the pecking order is out. Johnny the Bull is out first.
Did he have his trousers that cover his feet?
And then next out is Ultimo Dragon. Although he does get a little bit of offence. He gets the kick.
Third out.
Oh, is he?
Orlando Jordan's the second
Oh,
one.
I didn't see him leave.
Oh.
But he gets a bit of offence on the Big Show. The best bit, though, is obviously Big Show is setting him up
Jones.
to leave him. Nathan Jones wonders over.
Taz picked that one.
Not the Stoke
Nathan
manager.
Jones.
Not Nathan Jones, the Stoke manager.
Yeah.
He's wandering out of a job. But yes, and Ultimo Dragon is out of the match.
It's my favourite bit.
Jones
Jones just comes on and claps him, and it's like you would sell this, but like, what you doing?
I'm not even going to ask you your thoughts on the match, but did either of you watch the rest of the battle?
No, I don't.
I
knew you would
I
because it's a battle royal.
How would
All
you
of
ever
people-
have this end when you need two people to go over in a battle royal?
Well, you'd have to tickle.
Although they did time it right, didn't they?
They did, yeah,
It was
because
good
it
as
was
you
sort of
thought.
like going for the
Cena.
FU, and then he just
Cena and
went,
Benoit.
yeah,
Oh, Cena
landed.
Cena and no one.
No one.
So Cena won.
Cena and the ref. Cena and the ref, and then Paul Heyman come out.
Yeah,
and-
Paul Heyman said, did Cena's feet hit first?
Yeah.
And the other guy says, no, it was No, it was Cena.
With when?
His feet hit first, but he also won. It was the bull's feet hit. It wasn't no feet. Technically, the bull won because you can't see his feet.
That's why he went out first. Still here,
That's why he had long trousers. You'd never know.
That's it. We're doing a Johnny the Bull podcast.
Johnny the Bull in Battle Royals podcast.
I think this was the only one.
But coming up, 6 and 8 man tag action as our next week sees Tajiri, Akiyo, and Sakoda go up against Rey Mysterio, Billy Kidman, and Ultimo Dragon.
I thought there was.
I know what they would have probably called that.
Yeah, but they couldn't have done that
or
one.
the Japanese mafia or something.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done that.
Because Kenzo Suzuki was apparently Hirohito, or
yeah,
but then they realised, it's a Japanese
Japan threatened another Pearl Harbor job if they sorted.
Pearl Harbor, always Gorilla Monsoon.
So the commentary team hype the Cruiserweight Open, which has been announced for WrestleMania 20 as Ultimo Dragon and Akiyo start. There's a fast start and strong kicks by Ultimo Dragon and Billy Kidman is in. So that's it, pretty much. We're going to stop watching there. But Tajiri gets hit with a nice head scissors. There's a nice 3-man drop kick as well on Billy Kidman by Akiyo and Sakoda and Tajiri, which was timed beautifully. Sakoda is the muscle in the group, but he's not in the Cruiserweight title.
No, he's too fat.
Too ugly.
Too fat, too ugly.
Billy Kidman does a great...
Was it 215 at this point?
220, wasn't it?
220?
220, yeah.
That was the limit.
220 live. Billy Kidman does a great
the same ring.
No. And then, who do you reckon is going to get the hot tag? Ray.
The masked dude.
Dragon, is he?
Yeah, the masked dude. Ray gets the hot tag. And
wrong kind of mask.
there's great typical Ray offense, and then Ultimo Dragon does a nice dive to the outside on Sakoda. Billy Kidman takes out Tajiri, and Rey Mysterio pins Akiyo inside after a round the world sort of DDT, which he sells like a boss.
Yes, Jimmy Wang.
Again, we're reviewing probably the least interesting person in this match, and I'm including Sakoda.
Oh no, he's better than Sakoda. Sakoda's rubbish.
Is he the lowest then? He's the 6th place.
He's rubbish. He just got in and did a bear hug.
It's cruiserweights, fly around. Don't get in and bear hug. Sakoda.
Don't get well. He owes better.
Sam stopped liking wrestling after 1980, though. Jack,
83.
Jack, thoughts on this match?
It's a good match.
Yeah, it's a good match. It's a solid TV.
It's got no point. It's just
not from our podcast point of view.
No, but tell you anyway.
I mean, the problem is, if we did matches that had any relevance to it would be the debut and the trip. That's it.
Both trips.
Two fall.
Yeah, but that would be it.
It's just, and like you say, the best bits of the match, I think, are Ray and Akiyo, really.
I thought Billy Kidman looked okay as well. But Billy Kidman looks a lot different to his WCW run as well.
Old, anyway.
And he's sort of bigger.
What's happened?
What? He must have been eating the same things as Ray, because he's suddenly a lot bigger.
Benoit.
Yeah.
And Nathan Jones.
He's bigger.
Eddie, you know.
Oh, sorry, not him. Stevie Richards. Hardcore Holly.
Really good.
Really good.
He's going to come out with a huge ass.
Vader.
To the big match.
Steroided up ass.
I feel like Johnny the Bull and Billy Gunn are trying to take over the podcast. Even we're doing the pushing the Ultimo Dragon to the background of the podcast.
Bullshit.
Sam, anything to add on the 6th round?
Good TV match, but it was just let's push the person who doesn't really need to be pushed.
Yeah,
right,
that's probably true. Yeah, you could have got Kidman a win, or even Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon, especially going into a cruiserweight tournament where there's literally 2 people that can win.
Well, they've only done 2 up to this point. It's the champ and Ray.
Yeah, it's just silly. So our next match sees Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Senior on commentary.
Just bury Michael Cole.
Oh, I love it.
Chavo classic.
Oh, it's brilliant. Chavo classic, isn't it?
It's another one who's going to take over this podcast.
Yeah,
I love Chavo classic.
Chavo classic during the commentary. The special guest commentary people in this made it worth watching. If you want to improve last week's 6-man tag, what you need to add is Jamie Noble on the heel side with Tajiri, who he was feuding with a month ago, and Funaki.
It could be Funaki, though.
Funaki's gimmick at this point is What, Funaki? Is that the
number
giveaway?
one announcer,
number
but I
one
wrestle.
announcer. Now he's WWE Japan number one announcer.
Yeah, he's still there. Jesus.
Well, he come back.
Before we get to it, the match starts as Jamie Noble and Ray. Because they face off in a one-on-one.
Trope, everybody in!
Brawl.
Tag match, please. Well, it descends to... Who books the tag match, though?
No one.
Well, no, Charles
Breaking.
Robinson. Charles Robinson announces that he's eight.
This isn't WCW in 99 when
That's
you
what
got
Cole
the
says. Cole's made... Charles Robinson has made this an 8-man tag.
Charles Robinson.
Little Nate has made it the... he had a pay-per-view match, though. Not Charles Robinson. That'll be a podcast. Is happening now?
refs in matches.
UFC matches there.
Earl Ebner. Just Earl.
Oh God!
It's just a Danny Davis podcast, isn't it?
Yes.
He got banned for life plus 10 years.
Then he did it after anyway. Yeah, carried on. Everyone's forgot by now.
For life. So when you
For life
dead,
plus
then you
10
got
years.
10 years.
Yeah.
But you can't do it in the afterlife.
Yeah, 10 years in the afterlife.
Gets to wherever he went, heaven or hell. Oh yeah, sure. There is a nice man on that.
I think he
He did, yeah. I killed him. And then God or the devil goes, hold on. You got 10 more years. They remember Gorilla.
No, they got like a wrestling match where Daddy, oh my God. And they've got like a clock.
It's counting down. So another 10 years.
That's another one Ultimo's dropped here.
Danny Davis, and Billy Gunn. He's the least interesting person on his own podcast.
Chavo class.
Yes, because after the break, Ultimo Dragon and Tajiri start this new 8-man tag match. There's kicks offense by Ultimo Dragon, obviously, and then Billy is in, and outside, Chavo Guerrero and Chavo Senior. Oh my God, with Cole, it's just brilliant.
But who's the champion? You said, you're past champion, but who is the champion right now? May I show you the belt right here? I know who's the champion. And then somebody like Mysterio. Here we go, shoulders down. I have a question. No, Michael Cole. Now, you think this is fair? You're telling that we interfere. Do you think this is fair? And this is my son? Come on, give me a break. WrestleMania this Sunday because when you defend successfully your cruiserweight title, someone's told me I'm telling people to respect you. Nine opponents, Michael Cole. You're going to be in all, Michael. You're going to be in all. And then we'll see what you have to say. Cinco, right? Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I'm just going to lay out, let the three of you talk, have you one best high-five each other. This is sickening. Good, go frost your hair. I'll be in my second corner. Actually, call it Spanish. I'll be in Spanish. Shoot in Spanish. Aquí tenemos y estamos aquí esperando WrestleMania y tenemos aquí una lucha entre Funaki y Jamie Noble. See that Cole? The man's bilingual.
It was all the match was just him bickering and Taz trying to say, oh, I'd love to see you in that, which I thought Vince must have gone.
I'd like you to get there. Was it Cole who just said, well, he's probably too big. He's not the weight category.
And he kept
we'll see in about 2 or 3 months.
He kept talking in Spanish because the whole idea, and I must stress this because of where we're going to end up, is that Chavo is obviously incensed by the fact that he's now got to face 9 other people in our cruiserweight. Obviously, you would be really incensed if you had to face 9 other people. Really would be really incensed because it would be really unfair if you had to face 9 other people. Let's see where that match goes. But yes, Funaki is the face of Peril.
Yes, it's just dropped there.
Although the tree of woe slide by Tajiri on Funaki was lovely. There's a sneaky Japanese attack, and then finally Funaki gets some offense on Noble as the commentary team pay no attention about this and just bicker and talk about Chavo. Rey Mysterio gets the hot tag, surprise, and Jamie Noble is hit with a 619, and this allows Chavo Senior to do a little dad run. And
so more than at the point when Rey got tagged in and was flying about, running wild, Taz just shout Lucha.
Yeah, Lucha! Yeah, Taz is what, man?
They're doing the Spanish thing, aren't they?
Yeah. And then Senior gets up and causes distraction. Chavo gets up, but there's miscommunication between him and Noble, and this allows Rey to get the win. And just to remind you who the other two people are, Shannon Moore and Nunzio Attack. And that is the match. I think Ultimo Dragon was in the match for about 30 seconds, but
he did dive on Tajiri after the end.
Yeah. Thoughts on that?
It happened.
Here's another.
Ready for a WrestleMania? Where it all begins again?
No, not again. No, leave the poor man alone.
Where the push
down, put that dragon down.
Where the push begins again.
Yeah.
Push.
What push?
At the door.
The P45 bid slid across. I mean, that was one where both Vince and Ultimo Dragon just went, "Should we end this?"
It was
better things to do back in Japan
and Mexico.
So yeah, we're ready for WrestleMania 20. I'm just going to say this: I watched the opening package of WrestleMania 20. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's
a shame it never happened now. It's WrestleMania 20, but it is.
The Cruiserweight Open rules are read out, which are obviously going to be in the favour of everyone else and not the champion, except for. This is all geared, and actually is better for Chavo because it means that guaranteed he'll be fighting someone who has already fought. So why was he moaning? Yeah. It was the best scenario.
A one-on-one match is worse than this because he's French.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're because obviously they hadn't announced this, so I'm guessing they must have kayfabe said, "Oh, this was done at the show," where he was designated 10.
Well, I just don't get it. You just put a random draw, or I don't know. He just could have had some sort of peril. It would have probably done more for Chavo if he'd have ran through a couple of the cruiserweights, especially considering the cruiserweights, which are Funaki, Akio, Tajiri,
Shannon Moore,
Billy Kidman,
Nunzio, Rey, and
who's the other one? Is it Dragon?
We forgot talking about
that
Billy Gunn.
And who did a sliding tackle.
Yeah. So yes, and Rey Mysterio has ditched Marvel and gone all DC.
Because he knows if I've got to fight Dragon, I've got to go DC.
That's true. It's not going to end well. I haven't mentioned many themes, so let's just get them in. Ultimo Dragon's theme, which is
Ricky Steven's
theme.
With the dragon noise. Yeah, that's not
well, you heard a lot of dragons, have you, in your
I watched Power Rangers a lot. That's the dragon noise.
That should have probably been his entrance theme, shouldn't it?
Just that
theme. And out of the cruiserweight, I'll ask you. Out of the cruiserweights that come out, what's your favourite theme?
Favourite theme?
Out of those 10.
Out of the 10, I like Nunzio's, which is basically
no
Boys.
Yeah,
that's little Brooklyn. But I do like that.
Yeah, I do like that theme.
Mine's Billy Kidman, I just love it.
The thing that doesn't fit it.
Yeah, that was just good. When it comes out, I just think this is going to be like a cool dude in this little Billy Kidman. Little Bradley Dack. You know, get that. Little fat Bradley Dack was people in Blackburn rolling over on the floor laughing. So, the unlucky two to get 1 and 2, we don't know what order, but are Ultimo Dragon and Shannon Moore. Yes. We start, so we end, we start. And he slips, yes. We can't see it in the edit, but...
why did they edit that out? Does it matter?
But they didn't show the Daniel Bryan toy thing, but they didn't edit out the sound. Yeah,
what sound would there have been with Ultimo? Like a cartoon one.
He does it twice though, because when he gets
on the top, he slips.
When he goes, he knows, he must now.
He must have
Did he used to wear the cape in WCW?
I don't think
so. Did he in Japan?
He did in Japan, but I don't think he did in WCW because he had too many fucking belts.
Yeah, true. So, Shannon Moore and Ultimo Dragon. He has.
Gold, yeah.
I have one line.
One time to get this out.
I've got one line. It's near falls, fast paced, corkscrew missed, a side DDT, 3. That's the first bit of the
His one is home and away matches against Shannon Moore.
Not defeated against Shannon Moore, it's his bogey side. Imagine everybody's a bogey side for Shannon Moore, I think.
True, but in the reverse tie, Jamie Noble is in next. Ultimo Dragon, it hits him with kicks, but then misses a moonsault, and it's rolled into sort of cross-facey kind of submission sort of thing. Front guillotine, and Ultimo Dragon taps out.
But you don't know, do they?
No, and there's no crowd reaction.
No, I don't give a shit.
No one, and then Funaki's in and just straight away. I didn't watch the rest of the match, but we got to look at it for those bits.
Yeah.
Fuck, Jack.
For that, it's just pointless. I know you want to get him a payday and go all about getting everybody on it, but my God, if he's just going to be in and do nothing with Moore, he did more in his debut, not Darren Moore, Shannon Moore, and then Noble just basically kills him by doing the choke. It's like, what's the point?
The submission one was the thing that bothered me the most. It would have been better if he'd quickly rolled him up like Funaki and caught him off guard. I mean, obviously, after that performance, there's no way he would get his first cruiserweight title shot. But Sam, Sam,
it's very disappointing from the slip to.
Is that the worst moment of WrestleMania 20?
The slip?
Just the little bit of Ultimo Dragon.
No, I think when Cade and Jindrak come out, it's probably the worst. You just think, well, what the fuck?
The Raw Tag Team Fatal 4. Like,
but the Smackdown one was much better, wasn't it?
Smackdown one, the champs going in and coming out was Rikishi and Scotty.
Yeah,
that's
true. That act's gone now, isn't it, really? That act's dead. But APA, and name's still there.
Yeah, that's true.
With his JBL. His JBL.
The Bashams,
I can't remember.
I think
Smackdown one.
I think it was the world's greatest tag team.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The best team in it.
The best team in 2000. From pretty much 2002 to 2006, they were the best tag team.
It probably is the worst moment, the Cruiserweight Open.
I can't think of any. Not necessarily all the match, because I don't particularly mind. It is pointless.
There's no jeopardy to Chavo, which is the whole point of the.
Possibly, but the fact that he wins it at least cements him as a credible.
Everyone in a 10-way match, have him win there.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And then he's got away with the belt somehow.
They could have done some little fast-paced sort of 10-minute match where you can have loads of pinfalls or something, so everyone can have a little flippy shit.
Scramble shit.
Yeah. Set for Funaki. So
he wins the belt later.
Funaki.
He wins the belt after this.
They're the next year, and then he loses it in a battle royal because I think he's like the first one eliminated or something.
Oh, it's on No Way Out.
Yeah, it's No Way Out.
Spike winning or something.
That would be almost as stupid as crowning a new cruiserweight title and not ever putting him on a pay-per-view, wouldn't it? So, moving forward to our last stop, unfortunately, on the Ultimo Dragon WWE tour, as he obviously has built to the pinnacle of a velocity match against the champion for the Cruiserweight title, which is Chavo Guerrero. And this is, I believe, and I don't know this for certain, it's after WrestleMania, but I'm pretty sure this is in the UK. And I'll tell you for why, because Josh Matthews says that the crowd are calling him a wanker.
Yeah, they said that, yeah.
Yeah, did you hear it?
Yeah, it says,
what's
a wanker?
And Bill DeMott says, what's a wanker? Now, I can only assume... We found the cunt.
He's next to you.
But yes, we'll get to it. I think it's in the UK, which is why the crowd is absolutely...
Well, that's what's leading up to... That maybe they didn't do a Raw and Smackdown. They just did a Velocity and Heat over in the UK. The drafts after, because they mention it, don't they? Because Bill DeMott says we could be doing Smackdown with Taz and Michael Cole. So you're going to get drafted to Smackdown.
What,
when you're on Smackdown?
Do people get drafted to Velocity?
I think what it kind of was getting at is that they could both be drafted to Raw. Which
they're a 4-man team on Raw.
Build them up! Bill! It could have been just Bill. That would have been the worst.
The cat used to do velocity.
Yeah.
Before
He's in this run. Like,
yeah, because I saw the little thing. There was a little thing on his debut.
Yeah, I watched everything.
We've done it again. We've turned this into the cat is more over than Ultimo Dragon.
That's why I said he looks like Aliel Absley when you said because I watched him all.
But the reason I say that is the crowd is really hot. And there's heat early on for Chavo.
Yeah, but they're hot for Eddie, really, isn't
well, they are cheering for Eddie.
Yeah.
Bill DeMott and Josh Matthews are our commentary team. Ultimo Dragon escapes with a tidy arm drag, and then there's a tilt to world head scissors. Yeah, dropped it. It was tidy. There's kicks to the chest as we get Eddie chance, and then Senior hits Ultimo Dragon as he's laying over the ropes. Submission is locked in, and Chavo is a wanker is referenced.
Now chance of Chavo's a wanker. A what? A wanker? What's a wanker? I have no idea.
So I'll put it must be a UK crowd. Chavo's well on top, and there's a Dragon moonsault which gets Dragon back into the match. Kicks again from Ultimo Dragon, and a nice back body drop over the top, and a plancha. And the Dragon Sleeper, for the first time in our run, is locked in, but it is reversed into a brainbuster. There's a Chavo Senior distraction, and this allows Chavo to hit the Gory Bomb for the 3 count. And I am going to say it, that is the best Ultimo Dragon match, because it had 15 minutes, it had enough time, the story was built, the crowd was hot, and Vince probably didn't even see it.
Are you saying Velocity was the original NXT?
Well, I was going to ask you, where do you think Velocity ranks in the other shows? So you got Heat. If you was picketing outside the WWE Network headquarters to add one, where would Velocity come?
Arguably above Heat, and that's because
I think so,
Raw
because they're in-ring talent,
meaty guys, and SmackDown was cruiserweights, and they never got the TV time, so they would have been on Velocity, and they were on Velocity to showcase your shit.
Yeah.
So Velocity was, and you had that stuff with the Benoit Regal there, which was
that was on
a
Velocity.
Good run on Velocity.
And you had, I think SmackDown had Heat when it was a SmackDown pay-per-view, because it was Heat the night before. It was SmackDown Heat.
That's why they had
Raw Velocity.
Raw gets Velocity for 1 week. Custody of Velocity for a bit.
That is Ultimo Dragon done. He does lose a fabulous match against Chavo Guerrero, and a couple of months later they agreed a parting of the ways. He was never seen in the WWE again. Before we get to our last little Easter egg of Ultimo Dragon, just to show where he would end up, I'm going to ask you, Jack, to give me your highlight of Ultimo Dragon's WWE run.
Highlight?
Yeah.
Is there one? I'll have to look through.
So it could be a match.
Is it going to involve Dragon?
So I'm not going to say match of the run, I'm going to just say highlight of the run.
Is it going to involve him?
No. It's a podcast.
Well, I mean, it's his podcast, though.
It could be our conversation about the bull.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'd probably say the highlight of the run is Chavo Classic. Because I love Chavo Classic.
Oh, that's it. Well, that's MVP.
Highlight of the run
was Chavo Classic doing
Tajiri's commentary or Chavo's commentary. Chavo Classic.
Poor Dragon. I feel really
commentary was the best bit.
I'm going to stick with the Dragon. Stick with it. And I'm going to say his promo packages before it takes you. Because of the promise you had. That kills you, right?
I'm going to say the last match was definitely the one I enjoyed the most, but my God, the highlight of it is Tajiri. Tajiri's matches, or just Tajiri's kicks, and just Tajiri being brilliant.
We're not going to do a Tajiri podcast, you do know that.
Oh, well.
That's why you're getting him over, right?
That's what.
Well, I might have given it away, so I might as well say my MVP of the run, unfortunately, on an Ultimo Dragon podcast is Tajiri. Jack?
I would probably say Tajiri as well.
And Sam?
I'm going to say Vince, for vincing somebody so good. You know you've done it again, Vince.
When he's your boy, and even you like...
Yeah. So it's just like, what have you done?
Yeah, and low light of the run?
Vince.
Oh,
Vince.
God, everything.
Yeah, just
The fact that the second match,
Yeah.
because he killed him straight away.
And he was built up as a big deal, like one of the best cruiserweights he'd come in here, and then
2 weeks later.
And we've got to make a decision. I'll go to you first, Sam, because I know your answer. Was this Ultimo Dragon's fault, or is this Creative's fault?
creative has nothing for you.
Jack?
I don't think he ever fit the Fed anyway.
No.
So I understand why they hired him.
Yeah.
Marketing wise, they could have done a lot more. They should have done a lot more because then the marketing machine could have got so much merchandise out of him. But I don't know why they hired him really, because he never felt like he cut a promo, or you ain't ever going to give him the time to cut a promo.
They didn't,
He
even
never had a
have
feud.
people, they didn't even have logical people, because part of my rebooking initially was going to give him a mouthpiece and maybe bring him in as a heel. That was something I considered. And I looked across the roster and I just thought, ooh, the bloody hell am I going to put with him to be a mouthpiece for him? You guys might have found one. But I said, well, Devon was actually on the list at one point. But yeah,
Was he?
Was he Reverend? I think
No, he'd gone back to Raw on Survivor Series
Well,
02.
yeah, turn him back to the Reverend.
Bring him back.
I'll bring him
Back
back.
to
Why don't they bring him back at the recent Raw reunion thing?
Exactly.
As the
Reverend
Reverend
If you're
Devon.
going to have him heel, just have him as Reverend. People would have popped more for Reverend Devon
Yeah.
than Devon, white glasses. I am
Other Dudley boy.
I am other Dudley.
Who's your favourite Dudley boy?
Not.
I'll leave it at that. But yeah, my low light of the run is definitely the Jamie Noble match, more so than the Eddie match, where he wins the match, but he is so irrelevant.
He gets shot with his arm raised.
The third match, the third winning match. I mean, you could argue the first match where he's one of two other cruiserweights that are being pushed, and he's almost irrelevant. But at least they're trying to tease something. By the third time, Vince has given up on him.
They'll never even. What the tease? They never give you.
No.
They give you once on a throwaway.
So before we go to our rebookings, we do head over to the UWA, I think.
Yeah, UWA.
Yeah, UWA, and it's the Motor City Machine Guns versus Ultimo Dragon and his partner.
Juicy Liger.
I wonder if he'll make any appearances in our cards at the end of the.
He probably
episode.
will, will he?
Probably.
Well, sorry, where is UWA? It's obviously
No idea.
it's American, but I don't know where it is in
Somewhere.
America.
Never heard of it.
They obviously have some
don't
sort
call
of.
them Motor City Machine Guns.
The Murder City.
So I
think that
Is it
was the-
copyrighted or something.
Well, that's what I think that's what they was called on the Indies, because that was the first time in TNA that was called that. But I think they must have thought it was too violent.
PG.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
Vince
for
won't
TNA,
even put
So that was
war
Motor
on
City.
in the name of the War Raiders. So
Can't even fight. No punch.
even though he was at the start of this run, he had a deal with the company. War.
Yeah, but it was wrestling romance.
Yes.
That's probably what it is.
Romance.
I love it.
So there's ticker tape. There's ticker tape introductions, so it's obviously got a Japanese feel. The Motor City.
Totally tested that a lot in TNA.
The Motor City Machine Guns attack early on, and there's a nice double fist drop. I could have wrote a lot on this commentary. It's all double team moves from the Motor City.
There's a lot of kicks, a lot of flips.
The commentary, fucking awful.
Are they even listen?
It's so Joey. You can tell
He's so Joey Styles.
The way he
Styles.
speaks is. He's been watching ECW
And he's
Joey Styles.
He's exactly like Joey Styles.
That's why you were cated even more.
Liger, who's got a bit of timber, and it's Liger's last year on the thingy.
No,
Comes in January at Wrestle Kingdom. But he's isolated early on as Saban takes control of the match.
You can see the ref. You know who he looks like?
Who?
Either Dick or Dom. I can't remember which one's got the spike here. Looks like Dick or Dom.
I gotta go back and watch that.
Ultimo Dragon is tagged in after a stupid Irish whip into that corner.
I got that.
Yeah.
Before you would Liger into the corner for Dragon to tag. Stupid! Psychology! Where the fuck is
They ain't no psychology in these kind of
There's no
matches.
psychology in this.
This
This is the start of the bollocks you get today.
is the indie.
Bedek would have exploded at this.
This is indie, innit? It's the best kind of indie, but like If you don't like Indy, you ain't liking this
He's
match.
still got to have. Of course, just whip him into the fucking corner. It's just stupid.
It just becomes a throwaway match, doesn't
Your
it?
kicks and your flips and your video game match. But you can't just whip him into the.
All four of these.
Having the match.
All four of these can work. I mean, there's no argument about whether they can work. There's a nice double team bulldog, and then the Motor City Machine Guns start to take it to the vets, and the vets do sell for them. I must admit, Motor City Machine Guns, they're a solid team for the sort of the early 2000s.
It is all just do a double team move. Then we'll do another one of our moves. Then we'll do another one of our moves.
Did you hear the horn? Remember there's an outside boots on the horn? Billy Gunn.
Yeah. Shelley plays the dick heel as he sort of brushes his feet in the direction of Liger. There's a nice drop kick which allows Ultimo Dragon to get back in with kicks, and the pace is up as Liger gets the hot tag. There's a baseball slide and a side moonsault and a horn, as is correctly said. And inside there's a frog splash by Shelley. Gets a lot of height on it, but only gets a 2. And the top rope brainbuster by Liger, as the commentator calls it. I would call it a suplex. But whatever.
It's Japanese.
Now, this is where I struggle to know what the names of the moves are, but it calls it an ace crusher, and then a cradle shock.
Cradle
shock.
Which is Shelley. Saban's thing. On the shoulders and down into the pole.
And that gets a 2. And then there's a Asai DDT or drop or bomb or whatever inside, which then goes straight into the Dragon Sleeper, which is a lovely spot because on the other side of the ring, Liger hits the Liger bomb, named after.
Obviously, that's his name. His shoot name. Not his shoot name. Sorry, his
gimmick name.
His work name.
And the veterans have beaten
Thunder Bomb.
Who's that named after?
Not Thunder that we saw. The one who fucked off. Even he's taking over there.
There's a Liger bomb on Shelley, and I think Saban taps out at the same time as Shelley.
He counts the wrong one.
Yeah, he does count the wrong one. It's Indy.
Man.
It's Indy. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. Someone who doesn't like Indy wouldn't like it. So, Sam, what's your thoughts?
There's too many bloody kicks, and I'll ask you this:
too many kicks.
Too much. There ain't no psychology, but again, we go on about WWE's run and how much of a bit part player Ultimo was. Who was the crowd chanting for when we watched this video at the beginning? Who was getting the chant? Liger. Who got the hot tag? Liger.
Yeah, it is Liger though. I mean,
I know it's Liger, but still, I on his level
constantly. I think that's what you'll always fit. That will always be the legacy. I'll wrap up Ultimo Dragon in a minute, but that will always be the legacy of Ultimo Dragon. Is not quite as recognisable as others.
Unfortunately.
Jack,
he had 10 belts.
Just to wrap up the match.
Look, I don't mind indie wrestling. I don't mind, stuff that I particularly, got a lot of psychology. The only bit that I sort of stuck with me and annoyed me forever, and still does, is that whip into the corner. It's the stupidest fucking spot. Just do it in another corner, miss your move, and then he goes and tags it, and then he's fine. And then I would have been fine with the match, and I thought it was a decent match. There's a lot of just do a move, pop up, do a move, pop up.
You get that on. It's in Indie Federation.
I ain't got a problem with that. It's more that whip into the corner. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
But take the whip into the corner out of it. It was a good indie match, and I enjoyed it.
I gave it an 8 out of 10 as an indie match and a 2 out of 10 as any other match.
2 out of 10 for making sense.
Yeah. So that is Ultimo Dragon done. Obviously, we're probably not going to check out the best of Ultimo Dragon in a AAA or in New Japan. But I will ask you, Sam, legacy of Ultimo Dragon, where would you place him in the plethora of masked superstars out there?
Top 5.
Does he make the Mount Rushmore on the masked wrestlers?
If you give masked wrestlers, obviously non-American.
Non-American.
Not really. Because
but if he was going 5th then? But if it was American, still not really.
If you go masked wrestlers, you put like the people who take Mankind.
Yeah, Vader and
America. all the time.
No one's saying Mr. America.
But obviously you got like
Juan Cena.
not Juan Cena.
El Vagabundo.
El
Vagabundo,
Vagabundo, the best one gimmick. Oh, you popped out.
I love that.
But you got like El Hajo de Santo, Tiger Mask, Liger.
You're giving away the cards here.
The Villanos and all this shit.
Yeah. But he's your Mount Rushmore, isn't
Mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Mom. Not Mom, but I'm the actual
grumpy
one.
one? You're the grumpy one.
I'm the grumpy one. Yeah, he's on there.
Jack?
I don't think he
I
would.
think
I think he's recognisable. I think everybody's seen some of his work, regardless, and he's known everywhere.
Yeah, he is.
But he's always like that sort of good end, you know.
I think
never
most people
really-
who would watch Ultimo Dragon would think he's nearly as good as Rey.
Yeah, they will always compare him to Rey because
Yeah.
Rey is just so much.
He
is a freak, really. With,
No,
with what he
to
can do.
this generation, Rey Mysterio is the masked superstar.
He is the way.
Yeah.
His size always helped the fact.
Yeah,
that
no,
he's
I'm
so
not cre-
small,
you know,
Rey is the main one.
Rey would
Yeah.
But I
certainly
just
make
think
more
you look
top
at Dragon in you know, if you to a Western audience, Rey's always better. To a Japanese audience,
Dragon.
Liger and Tiger Mask are always going to be the top two.
Mexican.
To Mexico, you've got loads of here. I'll hit them all. Fucking
Right, yeah,
all these-
probably.
Conan's better.
Probably even lower. But he had so many belts.
Yeah.
So he's obviously a good end for every promotion
Give
around
him
the
a
world.
belt.
And even with our run, and he's untidy in the ring, but he's still pretty steady when he's not being asked to work out how to work in a 20 by 20 ring rather than a
To
16
be
by
fair to
16.
him, for a bloke who wears a mask, which is always, you know, this is a Vince Russo thing really here, but he can sell.
Yeah.
He can make other people look good, even though he's got a mask that covers up most of his face. He can
And
still sell.
he can wrestle with aggression, as we saw in WCW. He can play the aggressive heel.
And he is a bit like Rey, where he can fight a big bloke and he can fight a little bloke and still have a good match.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
he is that good.
So, did they miss a trick? And that is the question that we will try to answer as we now head to our rebookings. As we've not been as prepared in recent episode and Jack's rounded them out, I'm going to go to Jack first this time for your rebooking of Ultimo Dragon in the WWE.
Right, I would have him debut at Vengeance against Shannon Moore. Yeah, I've still used him, and Rey is watching backstage. So he's still got all the promos, you know.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Up to SummerSlam, I would have him feud with Rey, a friendly feud about who the greatest masked wrestler of all time is.
Yeah.
So it would always be stated as Rey's. And commentary would always say Rey is the greatest masked wrestler of all time.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's why
what
the
Dragon
feud
did.
Dragon's like, it might be me though, you bastard. So at SummerSlam, he has Rey beat. He's going to hit him with the Soy DDT, which is named after him, by the way. I don't know whether you know. But Tajiri, Sakota, the ugliest man, and Akio come out and cause a no contest. The Yakuza, I'm going to call them, because I thought that was the name, but it wasn't.
Don't say that.
So-
Our podcast will be shot.
Yeah, that's true. At No Mercy, it's set up, it's a 3-on-2. It's Rey and Dragon versus Tajiri, Sakota, and Akio.
Nice.
Yep. In the build-up, Dragon always sort of remarks that he had Rey beat at SummerSlam before the Yakuza come out
Yeah.
and got involved. Yeah.
Yep.
In any little sort of ditties he gets, any little promo.
Any little dickies.
Any little ditties.
Is he going to slam Rey's head through the barbershop window?
No, you're going to be sexy Dragon. I knew he was going to do that. Sexy Dragon. I'm just a sexy dragon. Well, that's warrior. I don't make everybody a sexy man. But it's so mercy. Yakuza would win. Dragon would be hit with the mist. But he's blinded, so he nails Rey by mistake, and Yakuza win. Later on Smackdown, like, Rey's annoyed with Dragon. Dragon says, "Oh, I don't know. I was blinded, you bastard. It was a mist.
It was a red mist.
It was a red
Good job it
mist.
wore the black and be
Put me
dead.
to sleep." But Tajiri is involved, and he says, "Well, you know, I've pinned Rey. I want a title shot."
Yeah.
So a triple threat is booked for Survivor Series for the belt, for the cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
Rey's still cruiserweight.
Yeah.
He's never lost it. At Survivor Series, Tajiri wins.
After Dragon ducks the mist and it hits Rey, Dragon turns around to check on Rey, but Rey hits Dragon this time. Yeah. And then Dragon is rolled up by Tajiri for the win. I'm his new champ. So he turns to check on Rey. Oh, you're right. Yeah. And then Dragon, Rey, when he roll up, blah 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 blah. Yeah.
He does the Sandman spot.
Yeah, he does the Sandman spot. I'm taking bits from everything I've watched. You can lift it up.
I don't need this, brother.
You don't need this back, brother. Next, we got the Yakuza. They offer Dragon a spot in the Yakuza.
Yep.
Dragon is in the ring and he thinks a little about it. So Rey comes out to talk some sense into the Dragon, the Ultimate Dragon. Yep. Yakuza attack Rey when he gets in. Dragon walks up the ramp, stops, and comes back to chase up for Yakuza. So they sort of get out of the ring and walk off a little bit. Then he lifts up Rey, but then he hits him with the Asai DDT and lays Rey in the mat. On the mat. Not in the mat. He's beat down. Yeah. He beats him with a chair after that. Can he beat him with a chair? So he feuds. So Rey's written off. Yeah. Writing him off now. So
Tajiri's champ, isn't he?
Tajiri's champ. So leading up to the Rumble, he's feuding with Tajiri now. And at the Rumble, he wins the Cruiserweight title from Tajiri because Akio and Sakota turn on Tajiri and go with the Dragon.
Did I put masks on?
They've got different.
They got the gimp masks. But now, once he wins the belt, he's full heel, because he's a bit of a tweener when he beats up Rey. He's full heel now, and his outfit is now black. Not in the black outfit.
Not the pink.
Not the pink.
That's the only time we saw him as
a pink Yakuza. So after the Rumble, he claims he's the greatest master wrestler of all time, greatest cruiserweight of all time. Rey returns, and he attempts to beat down the Dragon, but he runs off. And at No Way Out, it's Ultimo Dragon, Akio and Sakota versus Rey and his partner Tajiri, who's annoyed now because obviously he's lost his pins.
Rey get to fight Eddie when Eddie.
That never happened in my run. Rey and Tajiri win after they basically Dragon. You've given them the cannon fodder. They am cannon fodder because Rey and Tajiri will win because Dragon won't fuck off and then leave Akio and Sakota. So after this, Dragon's in the ring with them, and then Akio and Sakota will turn their back on Dragon because you left us, you bastard, and you promised us that we could have all the freaking dragons in the world, and we've got nothing. So Dragon is then forced at WrestleMania to defend his Cruiserweight title in a Cruiserweight outfit. I'm still doing it.
Sounds a bit like that though.
I know it would be better to have the triple threat again, but I've already done it.
Yeah.
So he's coming down to Rey and Dragon.
He don't slip. Have you booked
he
the slip out? Yeah.
And the finish of it is, I'm doing the Jericho Rey spot, where he goes for the 619. It's all about the mask originally, and he grabs the mask, and he turns around and he holds Rey's mask up. And then he turns back round and Rey's got another mask on. And then and then he hits the West Coast pop and he wins and he's the new Cruiserweight champion. Now I would continue it, but of course, because that's where it's in.
No, but we can
velocity.
We can assume that if that run happened like that, Vince may not have pulled his ear off and at least he had a few. Very good. So Samuel, over to you.
Jack stole me first bit. He would debut at Vengeance, and he would actually fight Matt Hardy for the Cruiserweight because Matt lost it before. I looked this up, so I initially put Chavo.
Chavo's
in, yes. But Matt Hardy, because obviously they was always saying is he made the weight, and obviously he's saying he's still the weight and he's the best Cruiserweight, so he issues an open challenge. Ultimo Dragon would debut then. I would do like the odd, maybe one vignette saying coming soon, so you think, it's going to build up, but then he's just there. Like one of the best Cruiserweights debuting, and he would beat Matt for the Cruiserweight title straight off. To get it off Matt, because I don't know what Matt did after that. Nothing really, did So he would beat Matt for the Cruiserweight, and his first feud would be with Tajiri. there's a match in the build-up with Kidman and Rey and Ultimo beat Tajiri, Akio and Skoda, who haven't debuted, so the same as what's happened really here. The faces win, just had a win. Ultimo, I don't really write much there, I just put that match.
They win.
Ultimo would lose the Cruiserweight title to Tajiri due to Akio and Skoda.
Yeah.
He would have his rematch, but he would lose that as well. And you can see he's starting to get a bit more frustrated with it. He would, like, Kidman and Rey would try and control him or whatever, so he'd team with Kidman, just in a throwaway match against the Bashams on SmackDown.
Match v match.
No match v match. No match v match. The Bashams would win, and then I would have Ultimo fully turn heel and attack Kidman.
Kidman's getting the spotlight.
Kidman, yes. So he would beat up Kidman and obviously turn fully heel. Later on, Ultimo would then become the number one contender for the US title against Eddie at No Mercy.
Okay.
Somehow. I thought, how could I do it? But I just thought, because it's all bullet
Can imagine that in a Vince. I've got an idea for you. Ultimo Dragon's gonna somehow.
I like it.
Well, he becomes the US champ. Well, he does. But the number one contender at No Mercy. And he wins the US title at No Mercy with the help of Sonny Ono, who debuts. Yes, I bought him in because I did like Sonny Ono. And Sonny Ono then later on would cut a promo on Smackdown saying he's back with Ultimo because he's going to try and break his own record and have 11. So
Give him every belt.
No,
It's gonna be the women's.
no, like try and go around we're still got, he's still as good as he ever was.
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
the best cruiserweight.
Missing Dragon comes in and goes, get back on!
What happens in the meantime? Obviously, Kidman would have won the Cruiserweight title, and then that feud carries on. It comes back with Ultimo and Kidman, and Ultimo would win the Cruiserweight belt from Kidman at Survivor Series, again thanks to Sonny Ono, so he does have 2 belts now. The US and the Cruiserweight.
do love Dragon.
I do.
And 3 runs.
But what's happened is he carries on with the Cruiserweight title feud with Kidman, but his US title feud is with Cena and Big Show.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, because obviously they did start. I was trying to get it on normal timeline, so I was feuding to Mania for it. Big Show was the US really, but obviously he is. So at No Way Out, he would keep both belts. He keeps both belts. Sorry, until No Way Out, where he loses the US only in a triple threat with Cena and Big Show wins it. So then him and Cena can carry on. The reason he loses that is thanks to Rey Mysterio, who come back on.
He's clarifying that which Rey.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Trailer.
No, not Rey Trailer. Or Stevie Ray.
That would have been brilliant if they hired Stevie Ray.
So Ray costs in his US title and he challenges Ultimo for the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania.
Fuck Kidman.
He took Rey Mysterio in the build-up as well and took Ray out so Ray can have his 100th knee surgery or whatever he's got. And then he comes back, obviously that's when he costs in the US. They have the match at Mania and Ray would win because of a mistake by Ono that costs Ultimo, and then I would just have them both sort of like fizzle out and go after and obviously it ends with Ray winning the belt at Mania 20.
Very good. So I think wonder who likes Dragon the most. So mine I wouldn't debut him at the first time.
You wouldn't debut him?
I wouldn't use it.
See you next week, folks. I wouldn't debut him at Vengeance. I would debut him on the night that he debuted against Eddie in the US title tournament as a surprise entrance. And they wouldn't spend time talking about his name, but they would drum up that this guy's got championship pedigree, so he's got every chance of winning the US belt. But he wouldn't face Eddie, he would face Matt first, and he would beat Matt, which would then mean that he would let him lose his debut.
Both at the same debut.
Yeah,
I use more.
He would then.
One was at the pay-per-view though.
That's true. The week after that would face Benoit.
And he wins a belt.
That's true. He would face Benoit and win. That means he advances. Yep, he advances to the. Well, you got to build him. He advances to the tournament final, which was at Vengeance, I think.
Yeah.
to face Eddie Guerrero, and obviously he's talking about the fact that he's going to win. Obviously it won't be him, but the commentary will fill in the blanks that he's going to finally get his first WWE title, and he's won belts all over the world, and he would lose to Eddie Guerrero, who's a bit more heelish and does some heel tactics. So you would then have a little feud with Eddie Guerrero until a returning Tajiri appears after the attack by Eddie Guerrero, which turned him heel. And the two would form a tag team and would face the world's greatest tag team at SummerSlam, changing his title ambitions from the US to the tag team, and they would lose. And Tajiri would turn on Ultimo Dragon and go with Akio and Sakota. This would lead to a feud between Ultimo Dragon and Tajiri, but he would inadvertently cost Rey Mysterio the Cruiserweight title to Tajiri, and Rey would accuse him of being hungry for the gold and costing obviously their friendship, and he needs to calm down his aspirations for gold. There would be a three-way dance at Survivor Series between Rey Mysterio, Tajiri and Ultimo Dragon. Yep. Which Rey would win.
Oh, I don't know.
No. And he would be crowned the Cruiserweight champion going into the end of the year. This would infuriate Ultimo, as he feels like he's now tried to win the US tag team and the Cruiserweight, start to doubt himself as to whether he can win a belt in the WWE. And Tajiri would play into this and try and influence Ultimo Dragon by saying that Rey Mysterio is stopping him winning gold and he wants him to join Akio and Sakota. A little thing I would have as well is that Akio and Sakota are working with Tajiri, but they keep reminding him that he's not the big head honcho of the Yakuza, let's say. And obviously they don't answer to him. And they would turn on Tajiri and side with Ultimo Dragon, who is the head honcho of the...
remove his mask and become Mr. Asai.
Yes. No, I don't. And this would lead to Ultimo Dragon now being the main Cruiserweight heel. Rey Mysterio would be in a little mini feud as a sort of side note with Paul Heyman, because he was feuding with Eddie going into WrestleMania 20. So he would be punishing Rey Mysterio to get at Eddie in such a way that he makes a Cruiserweight title gauntlet where Rey would have to go through the entire roster to defend his gold at Mania. He would go through the normal 2 or 3, and then the last 3 would be Akio, which he would beat. Well, it'd be Sakota first, which he would beat. Yeah, he would then beat Akio, and then the last match of the Cruiserweight title tournament at Madison Square Garden would be between Ultimo Dragon and a beaten down Rey Mysterio. Ultimo Dragon would do a similar but a quicker style match that they did at World War III, where he just batters Rey and beats him. But there is another surprise entrance as Tajiri returns, and just as Ultimo Dragon had his hands on his first piece of WWE gold, Tajiri wins the match, and at least people would care about the Cruiserweight title match at WrestleMania. I would continue Ultimo Dragon then as a heel, feuding with Tajiri going forward, and obviously he would win the belt eventually, but that's where it would end. So there you go, 3 similar in some ways, and covered in gold in other ways. Ways of rebooking. Yes, Ultimo Dragon. But it's down to you to let us know who you thought booked it better, and you can do that over at our website, which is bettercallcreative.com, with our interactive polls, which will be up there very soon. You can always check out what's going on in our world with our posts on Twitter, which is at BCCpod. We're quite active there in the community, and you can see all our backlog and competitions and different things at facebook.com/BCCpod, and give us a search on YouTube as well if you want a bit of visual to your audio. We end the episode, as we always do, with a fantasy card, and as our subject is a man clouded in a mask, we thought what better way than a 6-match card, I'm hoping it's 6, between masked superstars, with the caveat that the masked superstars must not be from the jolly old US of A. Sam.
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad.
Yeah.
They're not Greek gods, are you sure? But I'm going to go first, and in typical Lucha style, I open with a 6-man tag, as you do, between Psycho Clown, Murder Clown, and Monster Clown versus El Hijo del Fantasmo. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, El Hijo del Fantasmo.
Let's go with that. The Great Mutter, masked form, and Dr. Wagner Jr. It's Wagner Louis.
Wagner Louis!
And purely and simply because I love the entrance theme, I'm going with the carnival or the clowns. Send in the clowns as they go over.
Bloody Leo Sayer.
Oh, it is. You like that version?
No, it's
Jack, you want to go next?
my first match is 2 Lucha legends, but they ain't going to be flying around. No chance of that, because the first man is Bill Mascaras with his saggy pectorals even, versus El Hijo del Santo, and I'm going to have to put over Bill Mascaras because he wouldn't turn up otherwise. And he don't chop.
That's who I meant to put in instead of Fantasma. Santo.
Del Santo.
Del Santo.
My first match, again, is Bill Mascaras.
Yes.
Get him first on the card, then he can play against Blue Demon Jr.
Oh,
And again, Bill Mascaras has to go over, otherwise he's not showing up.
NWA champion.
My next match would be a WCW classic between Psychosis in his mask, obviously, because he's very ugly. And
So ugly.
Juventud Guerrero in his mask, because he's very ugly.
And he's shit. I hate Uber.
I really don't like who.
I don't like him as a person.
Like juice. Piss off.
Bit off.
You shit. I like that.
And it would be a tractor on a pole match, or a lawnmower on a pole match. But yes, I would have Psychosis go over. Just to appease you two.
Is a 10-man.
Oh, he loves it. Get a load in.
It's Villano 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The 5 versus Conquistador 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
They wasn't. It was American.
I'm just getting Mexicans to play.
It doesn't matter because if it was they're Canadians, so.
Yeah, that's true. They can be in it, and Jarrett can be a Villano if he wants to. Because I'm on Thunder that one.
Oh, are you? What's wrong?
And I'm going to have the Villanos go over because it's amazing. Ain't it?
Villano.
What the fuck is a Villano?
My second match is El Ligero versus
Yeah,
Octagon.
Hell again.
Oh, I wanted to do a match, but I'll tell you in a minute.
And I'll put over
Is that
Octagon.
Octagon the one with the spot?
Yeah, the one with the red thing.
It's like going to Sasuke, but
Yeah, but
just a little bit different.
not as grumpy.
It's grumpy, not kicking the shit out of dirt bike.
Well, my next match would be my next match would be the Great Sasuke versus Mil Mascaras.
Sasuke,
yeah.
Sasuke,
Or Sasuke, or you say tomato, I say Tiger Mask.
I say Ninja from WCW versus the world.
Yeah. So it would be Mil Mascaras, the Great Sasuke, Tiger Mask, and Blue Demon Jr. I love Tiger Mask. It's got to be Tiger Mask for me.
Yeah.
Going over.
Right, this match is morphed into a Fatal 4-Way. It was originally the Battle of the Shapes, but I made it a Fatal 4-Way. So it was Octagon v Pentagon. But then I added in Hayabusa and the Great Sasuke. And I'm putting over Hayabusa because it's going to be hardcore and I like Hayabusa.
Yes.
My next one, you'll like this. It's a handicap match.
Oh my god! Who put a handicap match?
Me. It's Joe Del Santo versus Villano 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Yeah.
I hated 1, 2, 3.
Well, I didn't have 4 and 5. Joe Del Santo.
My next match would be a hardcore special because it would be La Parka or LA Park versus Hayabusa in a bloodbath, but you wouldn't see the blood.
Not a chair shot.
I saw LA Park recently in yellow on MLW. I'm putting over Hayabusa.
So they say the original La Parka, it's a different one.
No, this is it. Well, the bloke I saw on MLW is the original one, as far as I'm aware. or it's someone who's very fat.
I'm going to say
I wouldn't hire this bloke to be.
No. So the bloke I'm booking is Ella Parker. I think it's just La Parker Jr. The other one, or is it L Parker? I don't know.
Some weird thing.
Gigante or something. But yeah, that's my match, and I'm putting over Hayabusa.
My next match is an 8-man tag, because this is Mexico.
Lucha.
It's
you ain't got them, but Ricochet.
Ricochet. There's Blue Demon Jr., Mystico, Mascara Sagrada, which is the little one. It's in, but it's the one, the little that they brought in.
Max Minic.
That's in.
It's him. Yeah, I saw it.
And Dr. Wagner Jr.
Mexican book.
Yeah, the mask thing, I thought that.
Yeah.
Versus El Canic, Abismo Negro, Fishman. I love Fishman. I love Fishman.
Not the mummy.
What the fuck are you called Fishman for? And
he's a man.
my favourite masked man.
I know who this is.
Fear and he's amazing, and I love Fear Off.
Yeah.
Fear off.
And Fear Off going over.
Just
Of course, absolutely.
I'd have him lay out everyone.
I thought it'd be your main event, to be honest.
I was going to put him in for that. I love Fear Off.
My next match is a tag match. Fear Off and
Yes.
Cybernetico,
Yeah.
the two from the 97 Rumble.
Team 97 Rumble.
Versus Kalisto and Grand Metalik.
Oh,
I'll get them
I love
in.
Fear.
And just to see Jack smile, I'm going to put over Fear Off.
You can't not put out Fear Off.
Well, I thought they might in love, but he'd have a match.
No.
I thought that's going to be something
It's
else.
definitely something Chikara should do, though. There was three.
Rumble 97.
Team Rumble 97. I mean, that works in a King of Trios.
Yeah.
My next
Team
match.
Rumble spot or something.
My next
I'm one of
match.
the headhunters.
Yeah.
Oh God. My next match would be El Generico. Argue with me. It's Syrian.
The Canadian city.
Yeah. Versus Kendo Nagasaki.
Oh.
The man of 1,000 masks. I think.
No, that's Mascaras.
The man of an English mask.
The man of an English match.
I've got to support the Brit, haven't I? Kendo. Put over Kendo.
Does he hypnotise him? Does
course.
he take his mask off and hypnotise him?
You're Savvy Zayd.
My next match is a 1-on-1. It's Tiger Mask versus Jushin Liger.
Love it.
And Liger's going over. I love Liger.
My next one is a fatal four-way. It's La Parker, another boy, versus Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
versus Rey Mysterio.
No.
versus-
Which one? Senior?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Can't
you
be
got
Ray
out of it.
Jr. It's America.
Well, I didn't put Junior, so I'm glad I say that then. And the one I added later, because I thought, I forgot him, Tiger Mask.
Yeah.
Because I forgot about him. I was thinking about putting
I
Black
forgot
Tiger.
about Mil Mascaras, and he's got mask in his name,
I
and
was
he's got
thinking-
1,000 masks.
I was going to add Black Tiger to it, because
Yeah.
that's 88.
Yeah.
But then again, is he American or
There's
is he
loads of
Mexican?
Black Tiger.
Yeah, so there's a few. But I'm going to put over La Parker, just because he's my boy.
I was
And I
going
like
to
his
have
lead
Pegasus
dancing.
Junior, but then I thought I know where you become.
Yeah.
He ain't English.
No.
Well, yeah, we could be
Yeah,
English
English.
anyway if you wanted
No,
to.
he's a murderer.
Count.
He's a murderer. And my main event, instead of event, well, it's Triple A, isn't it? Is Ultimo Dragon, surprise, versus Jushin Liger. And of course, I've got to put over Liger.
Of course you are.
Ultimo v Liger. I know pick his place, but I'm putting over Ultimo.
Okay, so is he going over in your main event?
Mine's Ultimo versus La Parker,
Nice.
and I'm having Tajiri come in. I'll give Dragon a win.
Put
'cause he
Conan
needs a
over.
win.
He had the best.
Oh, fuck Conan. No. He's another one.
Max Moon, he played him as Max Moon.
He could have had
Oh,
Max
no,
Moon.
they're Max Moon.
This is a
Max
wasted
Moon in a triple threat.
Max Moon going over.
He's from the moon.
He's still
No, he
playing
ain't
up
from
the
Uranus.
So there you have it. There's going to be trillions of masked superstars that we
out of
did
that.
forget. So if there is a favourite you have that you wanted to let us know about, drop us a message on Twitter at BCCpod or our website, which is bettercallcreative.com, and that is episode 24. That is episode 24 in the books. But what are we doing on episode 25? To give us our quarterly anniversary, our 25th Well, it's not the 25th anniversary as WWE.
It's 25 years.
But we have made it to our quarter century. Our bats are held high towards the pavilion, and we are celebrating Raw 25 that we're heading to. Our episode 26 will see us dissect Dolph Ziggler's title run, and
the one he got to loses it 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. And our 27 will see us do the fan voted for TNA Victory Road 2011.
What were the other choices?
Or the Victory Road.
There's a lot of Victory Road in that. I remember.
So those goody goods will be coming up soon, so check those out and keep listening for future Wrestle Cup editions and a WCW draft edition.
Yes.
We are retreating into the ocean like Dragon Zord and Double Dragon, Jack and Sam Chance in unison saying
Goodbye.
Yeah, that was quite good. Goodbye.
Dragon Lord.
Bye.